Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanura Mardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Tvameva Mata Cha Pitattvameva Tvameva Bandhusya Sakhattvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravidam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Gurudeva Deva. Hari Om. We are now doing the Panchadasi 11th chapter called Brahmanande Yoganandaha. As I said, Panchadasi has been composed by Sri Vidyaranya Swami. We have covered almost all the chapters except the 6th one, which is not completed. We will do that later. And last time we finished the 10th chapter and we said that's need to go with the Nataka Deepa Prakaranam. Now we are in the next set of 5 chapters from 11 to 15 that deals with the Ananda Prakaranam. So therefore every chapter has an Ananda in it as a part of the name of the chapter. This is called Brahmanande Yoganandaha. And in that the teacher said, I am going to teach you about the Brahmanandam. So Brahmanandam Pravachyami, this is sloka 1. Brahmanandam Pravachyami Jnate Tasmin Aseshataha. Having known this Brahmananda, which is the pure existence of the pure Satchidananda. So once I know means how can I know Brahman? I cannot know Brahman. Brahman is infinite, it cannot be an object of knowledge. So by cognitively I had to turn my attention to recognize that I am Brahman. So it's not an objective knowledge, but a knowledge of my own self. So that is what it should know. And to recognize that, teacher has to teach in the direction, look at that way. So here Brahmanandam Pravachyami, I am going to teach you about Brahmananda. It's not a teaching as though Brahmananda is an object, but Tasmin, Jnate Tasmin, knowing which, knowing means knowing yourself who you are, because Aseshadaha. So Ahika Mushmika Anarthavratam Hitva Sukhayate. One will be happy because I am looking for happiness. This is the happiness that you are searching for in all other pursuit. This is the highest happiness and there is no more search for it. All search ends by knowing Aham Brahmasmi. And this is being glorified in the next two slokas of the nature of this highest truth. We'll do now sloka 2. Brahmavid paramapnoti, Brahmavid paramapnoti, Sokam tarati chatmavitu, Sokam tarati chatmavitu, Raso brahmarasam labdva, Raso brahmarasam labdva, Anandi bhavati nanyatha, Anandi bhavati nanyatha. Together. Brahmavid paramapnoti sokam tarati chatmavit raso brahmarasam labdva anandi bhavati nanyatha. So Brahmavid paramam apnoti. So one Brahmavid means one who knows Brahman, quote, paramam apnoti, he gains the supreme. So knowing Brahman, he gains supreme. So therefore Brahman itself is supreme, number 1. And next is Sokam tarati atmavitu. And Sokam tarati, there is no more suffering anymore. That means knowing of Brahman, and it is the knowing of the highest, and also no more suffering at all. Means completely free from all sufferings. So atmavitu. Also, one who knows self. Here it's a 2 statements here. One is Brahmavitu, another is Atmavitu. One is knower of Brahman. He becomes, he gains a supreme, number 1, and he has no more suffering, number 2. That means he is happy all the time. And it says Cha Atmavitu. Also, the one who knows self also gets the same thing. One, Paramam apnoti, he also gains the supreme, and Sokam tarati, he also has no more Sokam, no more the suffering at all. So knowing Brahman, I will gain the supreme and no more suffering. Knowing Atma or the self is also, I will gain the supreme and Atmavitu. There are no two supremes here, because if there is two supreme, then what is the supreme of the supreme? So it will become a infinite regress. So only way is that supreme is only one, and that cannot be different from Brahman, because Brahman means infiniteness, and infinite, there cannot be anything beyond infiniteness. Therefore Brahman itself is Paramam, and that itself is knowing that is Brahma. Brahmavid is same as Parama Apnoti, one who gains that. So gaining is infinite, you cannot gain infinity. So all these things are words are used for us to contemplate. It's not a contradiction here. It is something to, because teacher uses the words and in such a way for a trained mind to think in the direction to beyond the thoughts, that which can be understood cognitively as well as the cognitively, the mind has to understand cognitively, but realization is Aham Brahmasmi takes place spontaneously also. So Brahmavid, that means I am Brahman, that knowledge comes automatically, and Spurati Hrutsvayam Paramapurna Sat. That's what the Ramana Maharshi, Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi says this Ahamina Shabad Jahamahantaya Spurati Hrutsvayam Paramapurnasad. When the local I am is gone, egotistical I am is gone, so then the supreme I am, it recognizes that I am not this, but I am as I am is nothing but I am that I am, which is infinite I am, because I cannot say anything beyond, either say I cannot use any adjectives of this, that and all that, because they are all finite. All I can say, Aham Brahmasmi, I am the infinite itself. But that word itself is not a statement to show what it is, but indicative definition, that is to show in the direction to say I am infinite. And that words may be finite, but the knowledge is infinite. So Brahmavid Param Apnoti. So knower of Brahman gains the highest. That is nothing but Brahman. So knower of Brahman, Brahmavid Brahmaiva Bhavati. He himself becomes a Brahman. That's a Upanishad statement. Therefore there is no Sokam Tarati. There is no more Sokam. Tarati means crosses any suffering. Means suffering comes only from the duality that you will see here. And Cha Atmavidu. So next he says, same thing is gained by knower of the self. So knower of Brahman reaches the highest and reaches the supreme, and knower of Atma, knower of the self also reaches the supreme and reaches the highest and no more suffering. What only means is Aham Brahmasmi. So Brahmavid is same as Atmavid. So Aham Brahmasmi is the knowledge that has to be gained in that process. So Raso Brahma Rasam Ladva Anandi Bhavati Nanyatha. So Raso Brahma Rasam. Rasaha means the highest Ananda is nothing but Brahma Rasam, is nothing but the happiness that is the supreme happiness, that is the highest happiness. Labdha, having gained that, Anandi Bhavati, he gains the supreme. What he is searching for, now he has it. Because in everyone searching for basically fundamentally happiness only. What gives me happiness different from what gives you happiness? But what is the end? Happiness only. So everyone is looking for only one thing, that is happiness. But I think happiness is this, whereas happiness is that for you. And therefore we invest thinking that gives me happiness. So okay, now are you happy? No, I want another thing also. So any gain of the finite things will not give me a permanent, no more longing for happiness will not be there. I will be continuously looking for happiness until there is nothing left. Nothing left means I gone everything. Everything is nothing but infinite. So unless I get the infinite Brahman, I cannot stop looking for happiness. But only ways I will stop looking for happiness only when I get infinite, because there is nothing else for me. That means only Brahmavid Paramam Apnoti, and therefore he is Anandi Bhavati, therefore he is happiness. So everyone searching for Brahman only in the wrong place. That's the problem. So everyone is searching for happiness. No one is searching for consciousness, and no one is searching for existence. Such is because they know they exist, and they know that they are conscious entity. That's why they are looking for Ananda and thinking that I am only this body, this mind, this existence of in the form of body only I exist. With the wrong notions, I am looking for Ananda only. I am looking for infinite, think that I am a finite. So, Brahmavid, you are the infinite, knowing which, therefore there is nothing else for me to know, nothing else for me to gain. So, Rasaha Brahma Rasaha. So, that is the Anandam, and therefore, Labdva, having gained, it is not a Labdva means not to gain something, it's not like a gaining, it is recognizing, realizing Atmavitu, Brahmavitu, knower of my own self as Brahman, as that. So I am Atma Brahma or Aham Brahmasmi. That is what is Labdva. Having gained that, Anandi Bhavati. He gains what he's been looking for. He has been searching for only happiness, and there is no more search for happiness because he has gained what need to be. That rasam, Brahma rasam has been obtained. Therefore, he has no more longing, I want this, because he has everything. Therefore, Krishna says that Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogatan atmani eva atmana tushtaha. He is reveling in himself by himself because the self that he revels in is full and complete by itself. Therefore, Anandi Bhavati, na anyatha, not otherwise. Or means any other search, any other knowledge, any other search and any other knowledge or any other gain will not give me what I am looking for. This is a fundamental truth. So I can be trying to gain, want to be knowing more and more, and I want to learn more and more, and therefore all my search for knowledge of objective knowledge is not going to give me this, because objective knowledge, first of all, I cannot gain that. Why? Because we said in the objective knowledge, the more I know, the more ignorant I become. Because the more I know, the more it opens up. Because it's infinite, it is opening up more and more. In any field, the more I know, the subject that I am is opening more and more and more. That's why every scientist wants money to find out the truth. And in the end of every paper, he investigates and then says he will raise more questions in the end, says I want more money to solve this problem. Because if he says I have solved the problem, then there is no more job for the scientist. So the fact of the matter is, the more you investigate, the more it opens, and there are a lot more things need to be investigated. Therefore, one becomes super and super specialist of narrower field. That is the nature of objective sciences. So in any field you are going to be, you can gain main and the whole, as he is going to talk about. Narada, he got PhD in 60 subjects. He is going to list all the 60 subjects in the Chandogya Upanishad in the 7th chapter, where Narada goes to Sanat Kumaras and said, I have studied everything, all the subjects, and still I am unhappy. Please teach me that knowledge which give me happiness. So Sanat Kumaras says, that's all nonsensical subjects. You will never be expert. You will learn the Vedanta. That's how the teaching of the Brahmajnanam, knowing which there is nothing more to know, gaining which there is nothing more to gain, and the happiness is what that is. So therefore, na anyata, no other way, because all our human pursuits. So if you look at the whole world, everyone is running after only one thing. They want happiness. what they are looking for in the sense objects are going to give them happiness. More money, more happiness, more money, and once you have money, they want power and the money, and power and money both corrupts, and people ruin others. Greediness comes into picture, because the more I have, more I am, but you will never become infinite. And there are always higher people who know more than that, and that becomes an endless struggle. And the more property you gain, more the problem is you need money for security. Now you are worried about the security of the wealth itself, and you will have restless sleep because of that, because other people are ready to grab that one, and you are more worried about now that you will be caught or do all that sorts of things. So essentially, no other way you can gain. So what is the purpose? You are looking for something and you will never gain that way. Only way you can gain is turn your attention in the right direction. Scripture is re-educating us to go and look in that. What you want is what you can get only this way and no other way. So, na anyatha, no other way one can gain the absolute happiness. And in the process, we are talking about the knowledge of Brahman, Paroksha Jnanam and Aparoksha Jnanam or Atma Jnanam, Aham Brahmasmi, all that is involved in this. So now glorifying more about this knowledge. The number Sloka 3. Pratishtam bindate swasmin, Pratishtam bindate swasmin, Yatasyata sobhayaha, Yatasyatata sobhayaha, Yadasyatata sobhayaha, Kurustesmin antaram ched, Kurutesmin antaram ched, Atatasya bhayam bhavet, together, Pratishtam bindate swasmin, Yatasyatata sobhayaha, Kurutesmin antaram ched, Adatasya bhayam bhavet. So yada means when, swasmin pratishtam vindate, swasmin in one's own nature, because atmavit is same as brahmavit. So once who has been firmly abiding in his own nature, swasmin pratishtam, one is fully established in his own self. The self that he is the self in all. So how does he establish myself? I had to recognize the self that I am is nothing but everything. That is the sarvabhutastam atmanam sarvabhutanitam atmani. Everything is in me and I am in everything. That is the swasmin. That means firmly abiding in my true nature. What's my true nature? I am existent, I am a conscious entity, and I am Ananda Swarupa. I had to gain this using the mind, that which is enlivened by me only. It is the mind that has the wrong notions. It is that mind with the consciousness, enlivened consciousness, has to recognize that I am not the mind. The consciousness that I am exhibiting is coming from the total consciousness that I am. That I am not refers to the original consciousness, not the reflected one. Just as the moon, the shining moon, has a notion that the luminosity that I am exhibiting is coming from my own self. That moon has to get educated by science and says, hey moon, you are not luminous by your own nature, you are inert things, but luminosity that you are exhibiting is coming from the sunlight. That is what is Sakshi. Sakshi is the consciousness or the sunlight that illumines locally the moon, and the local consciousness that is illumined is what is getting reflected, and that's what is exhibited by the moon as a luminosity. So same way, the mind has to recognize, using Vedanta study, as a teacher points to the mind, that consciousness that is being enlivened by the mind is due to the reflected consciousness, and the reflected consciousness is due to the original consciousness that is illumining the mind. All that has to be recognized by the consciousness that is enlivened, which has the wrong notions about it. Because pure consciousness doesn't need any realization. There is nobody there other than itself. It is the mind which is enlivened by the consciousness, has a wrong notion that it is a independent conscious entity, and it is only this and different from that. And therefore there is a space-wise, time-wise, object-wise limitations are established by identifying the consciousness part of it with the local reflecting media. So that consciousness has to recognize, using the same mind, that consciousness that I am is Brahma, with Brahma absolute, and therefore abiding in the knowledge. Pratistham vindate, abiding in the knowledge. Therefore it is a aparoksha jnanam, not directly, indirectly learning yes about Brahman and so on and so forth, that we discussed in the first 10 chapters in terms of what is involved in the aparoksha jnanam. So pratistham vindate, firmly abiding, I know I am that and not this. And even though I am using this in the transactional purposes, because body, mind, intellect is there for transacting. So in the Vyavaharika Satyam, I may be acting just like anybody else. But my mind knows that this is only a superficial action. By my true nature is pure Satchidananda. I am the one that supports in terms of existence for the whole world. I am the one who is supporting the consciousness that is illumining, beaming through this mind, subtle body. And I am the Ananda that is coming through in the mind when the mind is calm and quiet. I am all Satchidananda Swarupam, that is my nature. And the one who is firmly abiding in that knowledge. So Pratistham vindate swasmin, who is abiding in his own self, therefore Atmaneva Atmanatustaha. He is reveling in himself by himself because there is nothing else to revel on. So he knows that himself is everywhere. So even when he is enjoying outside, he is enjoying himself only. And even when he is suffering in other places, he only sees the Natakam going on, Jagan Natakam, where the particular one is experiencing the suffering. So those are like a tragedy occurring, or playing a drama where you are playing a role that has to suffer. That also you enjoy because you are not suffering, but the role has to suffer in the drama. Same way, one can play the drama of life. So pratishnam vindate swasmin yada syat. So for him atha saha abhayam bhaved. Abhayam. So abhayaha. So he has no more bhayam. He has no more fear. Fear comes what? Fear comes from second. If there is a second person or second thing, I am afraid of something else other than myself. If I am only one, then there is no fear. Unless I am lonely. There is people who are by force left alone. They are afraid of somebody will come and do something, and they are afraid of being alone. Whereas a realized person recognize that I am alone only. Even in the company of people, I am alone only, because I know I am the only one that is whole, pervading everything. So therefore, abhayaha. Abhaya means no more fear. And fear comes from the second. Ditiyadyo bhayam bhavati. So Upanishad says, from the second only you get the fear. And so abhayaha. Kurute ismin antaram chet atatasya bhayam bhaved. Kurute asmin antaram chet. In case that I am not able to recognize I am pure Satchidananda Swarupam. So kurite asmin. So when this duality, kurite here is having risen the duality, that means polarity, when there is something different from me, kurite asmin. Asmin antaram. So there is, other than me, there is something else. Antaram kurute. Antaram kurute means in the mind, if there is a duality, if there is a reality to the duality arises, atha, in that case, tasya bhayam bhaved. So in that case, there is a fear. So fear comes when the duality is raising, and also I think that the duality is real, and therefore I am afraid of this second which is real. I am not afraid of the second that appears to be there. So I stand in front of the two parallel mirrors, and when I stand in front of it, then I can see infinite images of myself, because reflection of this keep coming and going, and so therefore there is infinite images of that. If I know that I am, the image is nothing but my own projection there, my own appearance in varieties and varieties of many things, I am not afraid of that. I am not afraid of standing in front of a parallel mirrors. Whereas if you put a dog there, and it will bark until it dies, because it sees many dogs, and it thinks that is real, and therefore it barks. If it doesn't think that it is myself. It has no knowledge that the image that it is seeing is its own image. So, but we are barking all the time, looking at here, looking at everybody, and here only problem is the mirrors are distorted to give you different visions of different things, and it's not exactly my same thing that I am seeing. It's a different form, in different her form, in the dog form, in the tree form, in the mosquito form, in varieties and thousands of varieties of names and forms. Thinking that they are different from me, I am afraid of it. It's my own self projecting in a right way. Look at the beauty of this, because of the reflecting media. If I understand it, then there is no bhayam. I can play Atma Krida, or if I am in the devotion, in the meditation, I am reveling in myself, or I am playing with myself. So there is no fear of anything at all. Therefore, he says, Pratishtam indati sasvin yadasyat ataha saha abhayam arte kurute asmin antaram chet. In case, chet means in case if I do not recognize that, atatasya bhayam bhavet, then only I am afraid or fear comes. So udaram antaram kurute atatasya bhayam bhavati. Upanishad, even a speck of difference causes a fear. So this becomes important in terms of the moksha. So what is liberation? Liberation is there cannot be any duality. If there is a duality even in moksha, I am only transporting problems here to the problems there. So if I go to heaven and there are other people there, I get limited by other people, including Ishvara. So therefore I am only a tiny guy, and instead of proper problems here, I am transporting different types of problems, because there are superiors and inferiors in the heaven also, because somebody is a higher up, close to God on the first name basis, and someone may be much lower than me also, because even my neighbor also made it somehow. So looking at all that varieties and scale there is a hierarchy of scales, because in the Visishtadvaita, Lakshmi is close to the Lord, and next there is a Garuda, there is all Vishwaksena, everybody is there in the troop, and my list comes from very far away. So there is a hierarchy of jivas also, Nitya jivas and Nitya mukta jivas and all that. Oh no, you will not be afraid because you are in front of the God. This is all a invocation of fearlessness, even though there is Advaita. Because you are in front of God, therefore you are not afraid. That's a statement also. But here, whenever there is a speck of difference, any difference will contribute to the fear. So therefore, there is a udara mantaram kurute adatasya bhayam bhavati. So if at all there is a freedom from fear comes only when there is a non-duality. And this is going to be the topic that's going to be discussed in this 11th chapter, and uses the deep sleep state as an example to illustrate that it is the Advaita where non-duality alone one is happy. Otherwise, the problem will be always there. Bhayam will be there. Now we go to illustration where it says even the gods have a problem, And this comes from the Taittiriya Upanishad, where even even I think even in the Kathopanishad also, where the Vayu, Surya and all the gods are also afraid of Brahman, because he is their total controller and they have to follow their rules and regulations and systems that are established, and they cannot violate it. And the fear of violation makes them afraid of the Brahman. So he says essentially in the fourth sloka, he says Vayu Suryo Vaknirindro, Vayu Suryo Vaknirindro, Murturjanmantaretaram, Murturjanmantaretaram, Krutva Dharmam Vijanantaha, Krutva Dharmam Vijanantaha, Api Asmad Bhicha Charantihi, Api Asmad Bhicha Charantihi. So Vayuhu, Suryaha, Vaknihi, Indraha. So these are the examples here. The god of wind, god of sun, god of fire, god of Indra, Muchur, Janmantare Tarapi. They have essentially come to those posts by continuously living and then aspiring those positions and doing whatever that is required. So in the previous life they have gone through this so much, and they have know what is the dharma and what is adharma. And krutva dharmam vijanantaha api, even though they know what is to be done, what has to be done, what is my dharma, what's my role, because they wanted those positions and they got their positions by many merits of many lives, and that's a temporary position. Afterwards somebody else will be occupying. That's why Indra is always worried about somebody else occupying his chair, and we hear the stories of that. So krutva dharmam vijanantaha api asmat bhicha charantite. So they move around, they transact in the world with that fear that they will be kicked out from that place if they don't do properly. So this is even gods are afraid. So even the duality, whatever the position, highest, you are not free from fear, and fear will be there as long as there is a duality. That's a fundamental statement here, and that's what being expounded, and we will discuss more in the next talk in terms of Ananda Swarupam, from the nature of the reality, or what is the nature of Ananda or Brahmananda is going to be discussed from in the next sloka on. We'll stop here. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.